Imagine boarding a completely normal flight. You've stowed your carry-on, you're settling into your cramped little seat, maybe feeling a tiny bit of that standard pre-flight turbulence
Yeah.
anxiety.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone gets that, right?
Right. And you're waiting for the captain to come on the intercom and give you the usual boring weather update. But instead of a cheerful greeting, the speakers crackle with this, demonic, ear-piercing screech.
That is just terrifying to even think about.
It really is. And when you glance out your oval window, desperately hoping to just see some clouds, you see a hooded figure literally levitating on the wing of the plane. You are trapped in a metal tube miles in the air, and the very fabric of reality just tears wide open.
It is the ultimate claustrophobic nightmare. I mean, you are entirely dependent on the machinery and the pilot, and in a split second, that trust is just weaponized against you.
Exactly. And that is exactly the atmosphere we are plunging into today as we unpack excerpts from a narrative called Texty. Specifically, we're looking at Part 22 titled The Hotel of Doom and Salvation.
Such a great title, honestly.
So good. We are tracking our protagonists, Toivo and Elisa, as they travel to a mountain fjord village called Tooth Cavity. But this isn't just a spooky trip. The author masterfully shifts this narrative violently from surreal gothic horror into this staggering cosmic apocalyptic finale.
Yeah, it really goes places you just do not expect.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the way this author subverts mundane reality right out of the gate is just fascinating. We start with Toivo on the plane, and he is just nervous about flying. The turbulence is rough, and the stewardess accidentally spills a drink right onto his scarf.
You know, the spilled drink is such a crucial grounding detail. The author is deliberately lulling you into a false sense of security there.
Oh, for sure. It feels so normal.
Right, you are nodding along thinking about how annoying travel is, which makes the impending supernatural elements hit so much harder because your guard is completely down.
I was reading this part, and it gave me total whiplash. Because right after that relatable spilled drink, Toivo notices the guy in the middle row, a man who introduces himself as Wolf Tony.
Ah, yes. Good old Wolf Tony.
And this guy, he is dressed in a sharp black suit, he has these exaggerated pointy mustaches, and he's holding a silver walking stick topped with a skull.
Which is already, a lot for an economy flight.
Right. But here's the detail that absolutely broke my brain. He takes a detachable gold tooth out of his mouth and plugs it into his laptop like a USB drive.
It is a totally jarring image. The author is really colliding two completely different genres here.
It's so weird.
It is. You have classic 19th century Gothic tropes, the skull cane, the villainous mustache smashing head-on into modern, bizarre cyber occult technology. He even puts on 3D glasses that project a hologram of a werewolf from his laptop, tracking paranormal targets at their destination.
It felt like some occult fever dream version of James Bond.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually found myself wondering, if Tony was too absurd, does introducing a supernatural spy with a gold tooth flash drive ruin the tension? Or is it doing something more psychological to the reader?
I'd argue it's deeply psychological, actually. Think about it. In our modern world, we use technology to feel in control. Tony represents the reader's reliance on gadgets and data.
Oh, that's an interesting way to look at it.
By giving him all this high-tech ghost hunting gear, the author is setting up a very specific expectation that logic and technology can tame the supernatural, which makes it utterly terrifying when the environment eventually proves that technology is completely useless.
That makes perfect sense, especially considering what happens next. While Tony is playing high-tech spy, the phobic passenger sitting behind Toivo, a guy named Tom, looks out the window.
Oh, this scene, it's so intense.
Pure, unfiltered nightmare fuel. That levitating figure on the wing pulls back its ragged black hood. But there is no face. It's a bloody skull swarming with worms, and black spiders are just pouring out of its eyes and mouth.
And this is where the author starts aggressively dismantling systems of authority.
Yes, because right as they see this monster, the intercom screeches with this chilling, demonic sound Cree, and a voice says they are arriving in Tooth Cavity.
It's so unsettling.
But a second later, it seamlessly shifts back into the cheerful captain's voice, announcing it's a pleasant 18 degrees with beautiful weather. When I read that, I felt like I was going crazy.
Right. It creates a profound sense of cognitive dissonance. It's like when your fire alarm is blaring in your house, but your smart home assistant is softly playing jazz music.
Oh, wow. Yeah, what a perfect analogy.
Your brain just doesn't know which reality to trust. You rely on a pilot's announcement to gauge safety. By making the environment fundamentally untrustworthy, where a demonic threat can masquerade as a weather report, the author isolates the protagonists entirely.
They're totally cut off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They can't trust their ears, they can't trust their eyes, and they can't trust the people in charge.
And that isolation becomes physical the moment they land at Big Bear Airport. It's shrouded in this impossibly thick mist. Then, in a flash of lightning, the normal passengers, the stewardess, the pilots, they literally vanish. Gone.
Just completely wiped from the scene.
Yeah, leaving our main characters waiting at a rusty stop for transit.
Which arrives in the form of Bus 666, driven by a terrifying old man with a bony hand.
I want to focus on the interior of that bus for a second. The wall separating the driver's cabin from the passengers isn't glass or metal, it ripples like black water.
The author is using literal architectural shifts to signal that we are leaving the known universe. That rippling wall is a mythological threshold.
Like crossing into the underworld.
Exactly. They are essentially crossing the river Styx, transitioning from the mundane world into a realm governed by completely different, terrifying laws.
I'd go a step further, honestly. It feels less like a threshold and more like an abduction. Because this bus doesn't just drive to a hotel.
No, it definitely takes a detour.
A huge one. It makes a pit stop at a massive tempest structure made entirely of huge, sooty teeth with a flaming maw. A bony figure steps out of that rippling water wall on the bus, grabs some of the terrified tourists, and drags them out to be sacrificed into the flames.
That is a brutal escalation. It immediately strips away any lingering illusion that the rules of civilization apply here.
Yeah, it's just chaos.
Those tourists aren't people anymore. They are just fodder for an ancient landscape. The environment is actively consuming them.
Which brings us perfectly to the concept of architectural horror. Because the bus drops Toivo, Elisa, Tom, and Tony off at an archway-reading Hotel of Doom.
Not very subtle, is it?
No, not at all. The place is a 4-story monstrosity with dark windows, animal statues, and wax candelabras. They walk in, and instead of a bellhop, they are greeted by an old, sick-looking woman with pitch-black eyes.
And she doesn't even speak, does she?
Right. She doesn't speak out loud. Her voice echoes telepathically inside their heads to assign their rooms.
Notice how that violates their autonomy. A hotel is supposed to be a place of temporary sanctuary, but this building invades their actual minds the second they walk through the door.
That's so true. There's no safe space at all.
What's fascinating here is that it is an active, living entity that is filtering the characters, separating them to make them vulnerable.
It isolates them immediately. Toivo and Elisa in room 7, Tony in 6, and Tom in 8. And this is where the author deals with our tech-savvy occultist, Wolf Tony.
Oh, poor Tony.
Coney is in his room. His ghost detector watch is blinking frantically. He's got a rifle on the wall, stuffed animal heads everywhere, but his gadgets do absolutely nothing.
Nope, completely useless.
The stuffed wolf's head above the fireplace blinks in the firelight, the window shatters, and sharp claws pull him backward into the misty night.
It is a fantastic subversion of expectations. The environment just swallows the expert whole. Like, he doesn't even put up a fight.
It tells the reader that knowledge and preparation mean nothing here. If the guy with the radar watch gets taken out by taxidermy on page 2, how are the normal people going to survive?
Speaking of the normal people, Toivo and Elisa are trapped in room 7. Elisa wakes up in a marble tub surrounded by candles. And on the floor, they find this incredibly grotesque object, a key. But the key is carved from a bone finger, and it has a black pearl attached to it. A bone finger is deeply intimate and deeply violating. It's an artifact that screams, "Do not touch," yet they are forced to use it to progress.
And the urgency is dialed up to 11. Written on the wall in soot is a single word, flee. They hear the struggle from Tony's room. They get a note slipped under their door from Tom, simply saying, "Leave me alone in blood."
So much happening all at once.
Here's where it gets really interesting. They step into the hallway, and this visual really got to me. They see a pale, extremely thin figure in a tuxedo. It has pitch black eyes, blood flowing from its mouth, and it is so tall it is reaching up to touch the ceiling.
Yeah, that image is just chilling.
How does a visual like that manipulate the space for the reader?
It distorts the architecture itself.
Wow.
By having the creature touching the ceiling, the hallway suddenly feels both impossibly massive and incredibly claustrophobic.
Oh, like you're trapped in a funhouse or something.
Exactly. It induces vertigo. The building is pressing down on them, forcing them into a corner where their only way out is to go deeper into the trap.
They realize the sit message and Tom's bloody note point to a hidden path. Toivo finds a keyhole hidden behind a creepy painting of a bloody fountain. When he inserts that bone finger key, the black pearl glows red.
Of course it glows red.
And literal red blood leaks out of the wallpaper to outline a hidden doorway, revealing a gloomy corridor full of spiderwebs.
They are ascending physically to the attic, but psychologically and narratively, they are moving deeper into the belly of the beast.
So we've seen how the author weaponizes the environment. But in this attic, he starts actively perverting their sense of reality. The attic is lit by lightning strikes, it is filled with black wooden coffins, and each one has a silver cross on top, but the crosses are placed upside down.
A classic symbol of inversion. It signals that everything holy, everything protective has been turned on its head. The rules of morality are flipped.
Toivo looks out the window and actually sees Tony's dead, ragged body hanging on a tree branch outside. It's confirmation that they are entirely alone.
Yeah, nobody is coming to save them.
Then he reads a rusty plaque on the wall with this dark poem. Wolves howl, bloody vampires wake. Your wound of the body, your wound of the soul they smell. On cue, the coffins start creaking open.
Naturally.
Inside, they see naked men actively growing hair and fangs, turning into werewolves. And in others, pale vampires in tuxedos, sleeping on beds of dead rodents with blood flowing from their mouths. It is visceral sensory overload.
It is the ultimate fight-or-flight moment. Put yourself in Toivo's shoes here. The natural human instinct when faced with supernatural apex predators is to freeze.
But Toivo doesn't freeze. I actually felt a wave of relief reading this part. He grabs a bottle of lighter fluid, douses the coffins, and throws his lit candelabra right into the pile.
Such a great action movie moment.
The attic erupts into a cacophony of unnatural screaming. They sprint to a rusty service elevator and slam the lattice door shut.
But the author won't let them breathe. As the elevator descends, those burning hybrid faces crash against the door. A vampire entirely engulfed in flames with blood-red eyes hisses at Toivo, threatening to sacrifice him to a demon god.
Which introduces a massive thematic shift. That threat isn't just a monster trying to eat a human, it's a religious declaration.
Absolutely.
And the elevator drops them straight into the evidence of that religion. They step out into the catacombs. There's a bubbling acid pond. They follow a corridor lit by black wax candles until they emerge into this colossal underground temple.
The scale expands exponentially here. We're moving away from standard haunted house tropes and into industrial-scale systemic evil.
The imagery is staggering. Wooden church benches arranged in a circle. In the center, a hexagram made of candles. Suspended above it is a pentagram made of impaled bodies actively raining blood down onto the hexagram.
It's incredibly bleak.
But the centerpiece, a giant sculpture, and flowing from its nostrils are two actual underground rivers of blood.
Just wow.
And navigating these rivers are red-hooded villagers in red canoes, bringing animals and naked human sacrifices to the center of the temple. The coffins of the walls slam open, and the vampires and werewolves leap out to feast. Does this shift from supernatural haunting to a highly organized demonic religion change the stakes for Toivo and Elisa?
Oh, this changes the stakes entirely. This isn't a random predatory monster lurking in a closet. This is a fully functioning society of death.
Right, it's structured.
It is an organized theology of sacrifice. Toivo and Elisa aren't just trying to survive the night anymore. They are up against an ancient coordinated system.
I want to challenge Toivo's reaction here, because when he sees a lone villager left behind with a canoe, Toivo tears a stone gargoyle off the wall, sneaks up behind the guy, and brutally smashes his head with it.
It's quite a shift from the guy nervous about turbulence on the plane.
Yeah, they steal the blood-splattered canoe and row away. Is that a dark transition for his character, like losing his humanity? Or is it just primal survival? I almost felt like he had to devolve to survive.
It is absolute primal regression, and it's necessary. The systemic evil of this underground temple forces the characters to match its brutality. Toivo can't use reason, he can't use a laptop like Wolf Tony. He has to use a rock to crush a skull. He is shedding his civilized self because civilization does not exist here.
That regression continues as they escape. The underground stream spits them out into a dark lake, surrounded by a moonlit spruce forest. The shift in atmosphere is jarring, going from a red, blood-soaked cavern to cool, fragrant night air.
But they aren't safe yet.
No, they're still deep behind enemy lines. They wade ashore, hear wolves howling, and hide near a cabin. Toivo grabs a sharp wood axe. He tells Elisa to throw a spruce cone to distract a red-hooded rider on a black horse. When the rider turns, Toivo buries the axe in the rider's back.
Notice the juxtaposition of the tools here. A mundane spruce cone and a rudimentary wood axe are being used to combat an organized mythological threat. It emphasizes how stripped down they are.
They steal the horse and ride toward the village square to rescue Tom. They find him tied to a pole on top of a pyre. A villager shoots a fiery arrow, igniting the wood beneath him. Toivo and Elisa charge in on horseback. Toivo is swinging the axe from side to side. The text literally says, like a Viking who got a fit of rage mowing down villagers. Elisa grabs a spear and joins the fight.
We've completely left gothic horror behind. This is dark fantasy action now. The narrative forces them to become warriors.
Toivo throws the axe, cutting the burning ropes off Tom. They pull him onto another horse and they gallop toward the dark spruce forest. But the village unleashes everything. Bone horns echo, and the forest swarms with a massive wave of hairy werewolves and vampires, rustling, hissing, and howling, driving them toward the seashore.
They are being physically pushed to the edge of the world. The land itself has been fully corrupted by this blood cult, and their only remaining boundary is the water.
And this is where the climax shatters the ceiling of the narrative. They reach the sea, the monsters are closing in, but then Tom's necklace, a blue pearl ring, starts to glow.
Such a great callback.
They pray, they dive into the waves, and instead of drowning, they are surrounded by the angels of God, bright creatures glowing in the depths of the sea.
Let's look at that blue pearl motif for a second. Earlier in the hotel, the black pearl on the bone key glowed red with blood and corruption, opening a door to the horrors of the attic.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Now, the blue pearl on Tom's ring glows with purifying light, opening the door to salvation. It's a brilliant mirroring of artifacts.
The angels grab them, and they are shot out of the sea inside a lightning bolt, tearing straight through the universe. They are transported to a new earth and a new heaven.
Talk about a change of scenery.
Seriously. They arrive at a sky gate shaped like a massive blue pearl. The angels dress them in glowing jewel outfits, and they are reunited with loved ones in white clothes. It is a breathtaking pivot. But the author isn't finished with Tooth Cavity. Back on Earth, the apocalyptic destruction begins.
And this is where the scale of the story reaches its absolute zenith.
The Messiah rides out onto the sea, which is now shaped like a glowing cross, accompanied by white riders. The werewolves and vampires are swarming the shore in a massive squealing heap.
Oh, it gets so intense here.
The Messiah opens his mouth, and a flame filled with lightning shoots out, setting the monstrous heap into an eternal fire. Then, he takes an iron scepter and strikes the surface of the sea. The water vanishes, replaced by a massive mudslide that sucks the entire village, the mountains, and all the swarming creatures deep into the earth.
It's just complete eradication.
Once the sea covers the area again, it becomes dead calm. The black clouds part, and a glowing red sunrise shines over everything. I have to admit, I struggled to process this, going from the goriest depths of a blood temple to a literal celestial paradise, and then a planetary reset button in just a few paragraphs. So what does this all mean? What is the author trying to say with this absolute extreme shift?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is a story about absolute polarities. The narrative spends so much time building this oppressive, inescapable system of evil.
Yeah, it felt so heavy.
The underground temple, the rivers of blood, the telepathic hotel, it is a total corruption of the earth itself. The protagonists fight bravely. Toivo devolved into a Viking warrior to survive. But ultimately, human effort, axes, canoes, running away isn't enough to defeat an evil of this magnitude.
Right. They literally ran out of land. There was nothing left for them to do.
Exactly. The purifying cosmic water of the sea and the divine intervention are necessary because the earthly corruption is total. The apocalyptic ending isn't just a rescue mission for Toivo, Elisa, and Tom. It's a necessary cleansing of the earth.
So it had to happen.
Yeah, the corrupted blood of the catacombs has to be washed away by the divine sea. It tells the reader that in the face of ancient, systemic evil, human tools will always fail, and only an overwhelming divine power can restore balance.
It is an incredible whiplash-inducing journey. You, the listener, just traveled from the relatable annoyance of spilled airplane drinks and turbulence through a claustrophobic gauntlet of haunted hotels and underground blood cults, all the way to the literal destruction and rebirth of a world.
It really highlights the sheer power of storytelling to stretch our imaginations, forcing us to constantly question what is real.
Yeah, it completely dismantles our reliance on the systems we think keep us safe. Which brings us to a final thought for you to mull over. Throughout this deep dive, we've seen ordinary, everyday objects, a scarf, a laptop, a grandfather clock, a spruce cone constantly juxtaposed with cosmic horrors and divine artifacts.
It really puts things in perspective.
It really does. It makes you wonder, in our own highly rational, technology-driven world, if we were suddenly dropped into a realm of pure myth and monsters, would our modern logic and smart gadgets save us? Or would we have to abandon them instantly and rely entirely on primal survival and ancient faith, just like Toivo and Elisa?
That is a very unsettling thought to leave on.
Next time you're on a flight and you look out that oval window into the clouds, maybe double check that the figure on the wing is just your imagination. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. See you next time.